NRL Fantasy times zero tackle. We're back, round 18, looking at the top buys. Welcome back. I am Longy, currently ranked 160th, so in a pretty good spot. Here to bring you the top 5 buys for round 18. Let's get right into it. First up here, Niiko Hines, 866k. Great price point. He's a player who you could say is the best player in fantasy, right? You wouldn't be lying. He's at a great price at that price there, 65 average. He's at the half spot. He's an A+ option. He has the Titans this week. So I actually quite like the idea of buying Niiko Hines and making him your captain this week. Look, the only counter argument you could make here is that he does have quite a high break even. So I think it's about 98 points is that break even. So he's likely to get a bit cheaper this week, even if he does have a big game. But at the same time, I just think he's the best captain option for this week. So I think you need to make that move right now as long as your team can afford it. Next up here, Toluta'u. And look, big news coming out of Manly here. Kohler has been named to play fullback this week. Tommy Turbo has been named at the center spot. Lehigh Hopewadi is on the bench. Look, this is very exciting news for Kohler, right? So he's a guy who averages in the 60s when he plays fullback. If they're playing Turbo at center to make space for him, that is great news. It means they view him as that guy who could be the fullback long term. Key thing here is you want to see Manly win a few games, right? So they've got the Cowboys this week. Then they've got the major buy round in round 19 where they're going to be missing a lot of players. I think they have the Titans the week after that. So I have a look at that and I think, you know what? They should be able to beat the Cowboys this week. I would tip them to beat the Cowboys this week. I'm tipping Kohler to have a big game in that game. And that should get him on a run where he keeps his spot. The average is actually quite a bit lower than that number. But the average for Kohler is more like sort of in the 30s there. I believe it's sort of bouncing up quite a bit though. So for Kohler, I look at that dual position, wing, fullback, and center. The fact that he can average 65 when he is playing fullback and at 414k, awesome option for this week. Ryan Madison third, and he becomes another member of this list who plays in round 19, which is a big question I'm asking on whether I want to buy these guys. So for Maddo, 550k, 40-point average, middle and edge dual eligibility. He's playing at Parramatta where obviously Hopgood is gone, and Madison's now been named as the starting edge back row for this week. Now, if he goes to an 80-minute role on the edge, that is elite for him. He could be a 55 average in that role. More likely, what we're going to see is he'll start on the edge and then he'll move to the middle for a bit, get a rest at some point. I would say about 65 minutes would be the number I'd expect from him. But I still expect him to crack the 50-point mark with those minutes. So 550k, 40 average previously. He's underpriced. He's a B+ option for this week. He's in my fantasy side. Number 4, Greg Marzhew, and 449k. It's a good price for him. Don't let the 30-point average mislead you. Now, for Greg Marzhew, it's a great run of fixtures coming up. You got the fact that Kalen Ponga comes back, and that's really big news because when Ponga's in that Knights team, all defenses slide in a bit, start to double team him, and it means players like Greg Marzhew score some very, very easy tries on the wings at Newcastle. So 449k, plays around 19. He's a great option. I love this one, and I'm probably going to be getting on Greg Marzhew this week myself. B- is only there lowered because his scores have been so average this year, but I'm tipping him to have a big bounce back. Number 5, Jake Simpkin. I need to get a Manly jersey picture, hey, but right now the only updated official photo is that Tigers photo, so here we are. Look, for Simpkin, he is at a really nice price point. He's averaging 25.5 so far this year. A grade, right? He's an A grade. He's a starting hooker. He's a guy who he's not playing 80 minutes, but he's playing big enough minutes, and he plays around 19. So when I'm looking at Simpkin, I think, you know what? That's a good cash out. That's a good cash out option. You can jump on him very cheap, and you have a guy who should produce pretty good scores for you in these major buy rounds. So I'm onto that. And I'll probably jump on Simpkin this week as well. I'm thinking about that too. That is our NRL Fantasy buys for round 18. So let me know if you're going to jump on any of these guys. Otherwise, keep up. We're doing tons of fantasy content here. We're doing the buys, we're doing the risky buys, we're doing the top scorers each week, talking about all that. I'll see you guys on the next video. Good luck with your fantasy side this week.